Welcome to Sleep Soundly. Sleep Soundly is the channel to help you calm your mind. With a combination of a thoughtful story, relaxing music, and gentle sounds, you will find your way to a restful good night's sleep. Let us help you to sleep soundly as well. I'm your host, Jonathan. Join me as we return to Willowbrook again to visit our friends at the charming village café. The cafe's regulars decide to create a community garden in the village square, bringing the townsfolk together. They each play a unique role in this project, leading to unexpected friendships and personal growth. Calming music and the sound of rainfall will help you relax as you listen to this lovely tale. Chapter 1: Seeds of Friendship. The sun cast a golden hue over the picturesque village of Willowbrook, heralding the start of another beautiful day. Birds chirped merrily as they flitted about the cobblestone streets, and the air carried the sweet scent of blooming flowers. At the heart of it all, the Willowbrook Cafe stood, its rustic charm a beacon of warmth and community. Inside the cafe, Sarah, the cafe's beloved owner, was bustling about, her smile as radiant as ever. Alice, her cheerful barista, joined her in preparing the day's offerings of freshly brewed coffee and pastries. Their voices carried the promise of a new day, full of possibility. As the first patrons trickled in, the cafe's cozy interior filled with the comforting sounds of laughter and conversation. Among the early risers was Mr. Jenkins, the retired teacher, who settled into his favorite corner with a pot of Earl Grey tea and a well-worn book. Mr. Jenkins had always been a man of stories, and his presence added a touch of magic to the cafe's ambience. Sarah approached Mr. Jenkins with a warm greeting. "Good morning, Mr. Jenkins. How are you today?" He looked up from his book and smiled, his eyes twinkling with mirth. "Ah, good morning, my dear Sarah. I'm well, thank you." Sarah poured his tea with practiced grace. "Mr. Jenkins, have you ever thought about how we could make Willowbrook even more beautiful?" Mr. Jenkins raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement as she shared her idea. "A community garden right in the village square. Something that brings us all together and adds a burst of color to our beloved Willowbrook." Mr. Jenkins considered the idea, his eyes distant for a moment. "A community garden? I do believe that's a splendid idea, Sarah. A place where we can nurture not only plants but also our sense of unity." The thought caught Mr. Jenkins' imagination, and he began to envision the garden's potential. Imagine the stories this garden could tell, the generations that would pass through it, nurturing it just as they nurture each other. Alice, overhearing their conversation, couldn't help but chime in. "And we could use some of the herbs and vegetables in the cafe, making our dishes even more special." With the support of Mr. Jenkins and Alice, Sarah's idea began to take root. The three of them discussed plans for the community garden, envisioning a vibrant oasis where the villagers could gather, share stories, and cultivate bonds. Emily, the young artist who had found inspiration in Willowbrook, entered the cafe, her canvas bag filled with brushes and sketchbooks. She had quickly become a part of the cafe's warm and welcoming community. Curious about the animated discussion at the counter, Emily approached. "Good morning, everyone. What's all this excitement about?" Sarah beamed at Emily and explained their vision for the community garden. Emily's eyes lit up with enthusiasm as she realized the artistic potential of such a project. "I'd love to capture the beauty of this garden in my paintings," Emily exclaimed. "It could become a living masterpiece, a testament to the harmony of Willowbrook." With Emily's artistic touch added to the mix, the cafe's patrons were brimming with anticipation. The seed of an idea had been planted, and as the villagers gathered to discuss their roles and contributions, a sense of purpose and unity blossomed in the Willowbrook Cafe. As the morning sun bathed the village in its gentle light, Sarah couldn't help but feel a deep sense of contentment. The cafe had always been a place of connection, and now, with the idea of a community garden, it was poised to become even more of a sanctuary for friendship and togetherness in Willowbrook. Chapter 2: Cultivating Connections. In the heart of Willowbrook, the sun continued its ascent, casting a warm glow over the village square. The cafe's cozy interior, with its wooden beams and lace curtains, hummed with the excitement of a new project, the community garden. Sarah, the cafe's warm-hearted owner, had become the driving force behind this endeavor. Alice, the cafe's cheerful barista, couldn't contain her enthusiasm as she donned her gardening gloves. "This is going to be amazing, Sarah. Just think of the herbs we can grow for our teas and the fresh vegetables for our sandwiches." Sarah nodded in agreement, her smile radiating hope. "It's a wonderful opportunity to bring the community together and nurture something beautiful right here in our village." As the day unfolded, the cafe's regulars gathered in the village square, armed with shovels, gardening tools, and an eagerness to make the garden a reality. Mr. Jenkins, the retired teacher, provided guidance on planting and soil preparation, sharing his knowledge of the land he loved. Emily, the young artist, couldn't wait to lend her creative touch to the project. With a canvas propped up nearby, she captured the scene, a group of villagers working side by side, their laughter and camaraderie filling the air. The garden began to take shape, with neat rows of flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Mrs. Thompson, the sweet elderly baker known for her pastries, lovingly tended to a row of fragrant rosemary bushes, imparting the wisdom of her green thumb to the younger members of the community. Amid the planting, the villagers chatted and shared stories, deepening their connections. Emily found herself captivated by Mr. Jenkins' tales of the village's history, as he wove stories of generations past into the fabric of the garden's future. Days turned into weeks, and the garden flourished under the care of the cafe's patrons. Sunflowers reached for the sky, roses bloomed in every shade imaginable, and rows of tomato vines bore the promise of a bountiful harvest. One sunny morning, as Sarah watered the plants, she couldn't help but notice the positive change that the community garden had brought to Willowbrook. The garden was more than just a collection of plants. It was a symbol of unity, a testament to the villagers' shared vision and the bonds that had grown stronger with each passing day. Emily approached Sarah, her eyes bright with inspiration. "Sarah, I can't wait to paint this garden. It's not just about the plants, it's about the connections we've formed and the beauty we've created together." Sarah smiled warmly, her heart brimming with pride. That's the essence of Willowbrook, dear. It's not just about the garden, it's about nurturing the bonds that make our village special. As the sun set on another day in Willowbrook, the garden stood as a testament to the villagers' dedication and their ability to cultivate not only the land but also the connections that truly mattered. The Willowbrook Café had once again become a place of togetherness, where friendships blossomed and the spirit of community thrived. Chapter 3: Blossoming Bonds. As the days turned into weeks, the community garden in the heart of Willowbrook began to flourish. The once empty beds were now a vibrant tapestry of colors, textures, and fragrances. Sunflowers stretched towards the sky, marigolds painted the earth with their fiery hues, and herbs released their fragrant whispers into the breeze. The Willowbrook Café, with its rustic charm, had become the nucleus of the garden project. Sarah, Alice, Mr. Jenkins, Emily, and Mrs. Thompson, along with other villagers, spent their mornings and afternoons nurturing the plants and each other. One sunny afternoon, Alice organized a garden tea party to celebrate the garden's growth and the bonds that had formed around it. Wooden tables and chairs were set up amidst the blooming flowers, and a sense of anticipation filled the air. Sarah brewed fresh herbal teas from the garden's herbs, infusing the air with the aroma of chamomile, mint, and lavender. Mrs. Thompson contributed a basket full of her signature pastries, and Emily brought a sketchbook to capture the picturesque scene. The cafe's patrons gathered around the tables, each admiring the fruits of their labor. Sunflowers swayed gently in the breeze, their golden heads nodding in approval, while bees danced from one bloom to another, spreading life and vitality. As they sipped tea and savored pastries, conversation flowed freely. Mr. Jenkins regaled them with stories from Willowbrook's past, revealing the village's enduring spirit of unity. Back in the day, Mr. Jenkins began, the village square used to be a place where villagers would come together for celebrations, picnics, and even dances. It was the heart of our community. Alice, her eyes filled with enthusiasm, interjected, "And now, thanks to the garden, it's becoming that heart once more." Mrs. Thompson, her gaze fondly fixed on the garden, added, "It warms my heart to see the young ones learning about gardening and sharing their stories." Emily, inspired by the scene, picked up her sketchbook and began to draw. She captured the camaraderie and the vibrant blooms, her pencil strokes infused with the sense of togetherness that the garden had fostered. Sarah, observing her patrons, felt a deep sense of contentment. This garden has not only brought beauty to our village, but also rekindled the spirit of community that defines Willowbrook. The tea party continued late into the afternoon, with laughter, stories, and shared dreams. Emily, finishing her sketch, stepped back to admire her work, a portrait of the community garden and the cafe patrons enjoying their tea amidst the blossoms. As the sun began to set, casting a warm, golden light over Willowbrook, Sarah couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude. The cafe had always been a place of connection, but now, with the community garden as its centerpiece, it had become a sanctuary for friendship, shared purpose, and the simple joy of being together. In Willowbrook, where time flowed gently and the rhythm of life was harmonious, the Willowbrook Café continued to be a place where simple pleasures, like a garden tea party in the company of friends, were celebrated with open hearts and open arms. The bonds formed around the garden had become as beautiful and enduring as the blossoms themselves, a testament to the magic of community in a sleepy English village. Chapter 4: Harvest of Hearts. The community garden in Willowbrook thrived under the tender care of the villagers. It had transformed from an empty plot of land into a vibrant oasis of colors and fragrances. Sunflowers, roses, and an abundance of herbs and vegetables filled every corner of the garden, basking in the nurturing hands of the café's patrons. As the seasons shifted and the sun dipped lower in the sky, the time came to reap the rewards of their hard work. The first signs of ripened tomatoes, plump cucumbers, and aromatic basil signaled that the harvest season had arrived. The café's regulars gathered in the garden with baskets and crates, ready to gather the fruits of their labor. Sarah, Alice, Mr. Jenkins, Emily, and Mrs. Thompson stood side by side, their faces flushed with excitement. Emily, the young artist, admired the colors and shapes of the ripe produce. The garden has truly become a work of art. I can't wait to capture its beauty on canvas. Mr. Jenkins nodded in agreement, his eyes filled with pride. It's a testament to the unity and determination of our village. Mrs. Thompson, the sweet baker known for her pastries, clutched a basket of ripe tomatoes, their skins glowing like rubies. And these tomatoes will make the most delectable tomato pies. Sarah, with her ever-present apron, couldn't help but smile. It's amazing how this garden has brought us all together. Not only have we nurtured plants, but we've also nurtured friendships. As the villagers harvested the garden's bounty, their conversations turned to the impact of the project on their lives. The café's patrons reflected on the shared experiences, the laughter, and the deeper connections they had formed. Alice, picking fresh basil leaves, chimed in, "I never imagined a garden could bring so much joy and meaning to our lives." With baskets brimming with vegetables and herbs, the villagers returned to the Willowbrook Café. Sarah, Alice, Mr. Jenkins, Emily, and Mrs. Thompson got to work transforming the garden's harvest into culinary delights. The café was soon filled with the mouth-watering aroma of freshly baked tomato pies, fragrant basil pesto, and cucumber sandwiches. The garden's produce had found its way into the café's kitchen, becoming the star ingredients of a garden-inspired menu. As the villagers enjoyed their meal, they couldn't help but savor the flavors of their labor, enriched by the sense of unity that had blossomed alongside the garden. They swapped stories, laughed heartily, and toasted to their success. Emily, inspired by the beauty of the garden and the warmth of her companions, decided to create a painting to commemorate the harvest. She set up her easel in a corner of the cafe and began to capture the scene, a bustling cafe filled with people sharing a meal made from the garden's bounty. As the evening sun cast a warm, golden glow over Willowbrook, Sarah couldn't help but feel a deep sense of contentment. The garden had not only provided nourishment for the body, but also nourished the bonds of friendship that made the village so special. In Willowbrook, where time flowed gently and the rhythm of life was harmonious, the Willowbrook Café continued to be a place where simple pleasures, like a garden harvest feast and the company of friends, were celebrated with open hearts and open arms. The garden's impact had been more than they could have ever imagined. A place for the whole community to enjoy together. Chapter 5: Sowing Dreams. The village of Willowbrook had changed, and at its heart stood the flourishing community garden, a testament to the villagers' collective spirit and hard work. It had grown from a simple idea into a vibrant tapestry of colors, fragrances, and memories. As the seasons cycled through another year, the garden continued to thrive, each bloom and harvest nurturing the bonds that had deepened in the Willowbrook Café. The sunflowers, roses, and herbs had become symbols of unity and shared purpose. A year had passed since the garden's inception, and the villagers gathered once more, this time to plan the future of their beloved project. They met in the cozy confines of the café, its wooden beams and lace curtains providing a warm and inviting atmosphere. Sarah, the café's owner, couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment as she addressed the gathering. It's incredible to see how far we've come in just a year. The garden has not only added beauty to our village, but has also brought us together in ways we could have never imagined. Alice, the cheerful barista, added, "The garden has become a source of inspiration for our cafe's menu, and it's been a joy to see our village thrive." Mr. Jenkins, the retired teacher and storyteller, leaned forward with a twinkle in his eye. "It's brought generations together, connecting our past with the present." Emily, the young artist who had found her muse in Willowbrook, nodded in agreement. "I've painted the garden through every season, and it's been a continuous wellspring of creativity." Mrs. Thompson, known for her pastries, chimed in, "It's not just about the produce, it's about the connections we've made and the love we've shared." The villagers discussed the garden's future, sharing ideas and dreams. They talked about expanding the garden, creating a dedicated space for art exhibitions, and even hosting workshops for the younger members of the community to learn about gardening and art. Mr. Jenkins, his eyes filled with optimism, shared, "How about a time capsule? We could fill it with mementos from our present, to be discovered by future generations." Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement as she embraced the idea. A Willowbrook time capsule, buried right here in the garden, carrying our stories, hopes, and dreams into the future. As the meeting concluded, the cafe's patrons took a moment to reflect on the impact of the garden on their lives and their village. They had cultivated not only the land but also the connections that truly mattered. With renewed determination, they set to work on their plans, each one contributing their skills and passions to the garden's expansion and the creation of the time capsule. Months passed, and the garden grew in size and beauty. Emily's art exhibitions attracted visitors from neighboring villages, bringing recognition to Willowbrook as an artistic hub. Workshops for children became a regular occurrence, fostering a new generation of gardeners and artists. Finally, on a sunny afternoon, the villagers gathered in the expanded garden for the burial of the Willowbrook time capsule. They placed mementos, letters, and artworks into the capsule, each item a representation of their love for the village and their dreams for the future. As they lowered the time capsule into the ground, Sarah spoke, her voice filled with hope. "May this garden and this time capsule be a lasting testament to the bonds we've formed and the dreams we hold dear. May they inspire generations to come." With the time capsule safely buried, the villagers returned to the Willowbrook Café for a celebration filled with laughter, shared stories, and a sense of fulfillment. The garden had not only brought beauty to their lives, but it also sown the seeds of lasting connections and dreams that would continue to flourish in Willowbrook for years to come. In Willowbrook, where time flowed gently and the rhythm of life was harmonious, the Willowbrook Café continued to be a place where simple pleasures, like a garden's bounty and the company of friends, were celebrated with open hearts and open arms. The bonds formed around the garden had become as beautiful and enduring as the blossoms themselves, a testament to the magic of community in a sleepy English village.